Today I'm going to demonstrate how to paint the elusive white rose. I've sorted the colours that I want to use. I'm using mostly Winsor & Newton tube paints, but if you have half pans, they'll work just the same. Check out my video demonstration comparing half pans with tubes if you don't believe me. Today will be about technique and trying something new. I'm always practicing roses. I have painted hundreds of them, so please don't be downhearted if you have to practice this rose a few times. Trust me, it's what all artists do. The colours that I've started with are all watercolours: white, violet, grey, yellow and orange. I'm using the pure squirrel brush because it holds so much water. I'll leave a link to all the things I've used in the description box below. I'm using the pure squirrel paintbrush because it can hold a lot of water. What I mean by that is, instead of having a wash of colour ready, I'm using a wet paintbrush and dipping the paintbrush into the watercolour pigment, and the water mixes from my brush with the pigment on the page. You absolutely can make these colours into washes, or you can have some fun and try this technique and paint along with me. Do not be misled into thinking that a white rose is just white. A quick Google image search of the term white rose will show you that a white rose actually has an array of colours. So I'm starting with yellow. Remember that the colours will dry lighter than how they look when they're wet. So the yellow that you see here will hopefully be a lot lighter, especially as we add more colours and contrast in our petals. Next, I mix the white watercolour paint with the tiniest amount of Payne's grey. You can get a similar effect by mixing the grey with just water. The reason I mix it with a little white watercolour is to make it a thicker colour and less of a wash. I dab on the colour and make a petal outline, which in the case of painting roses can either be quite a lot of fun or it can be very challenging. I've practiced roses for years and I still get nervous applying the petals. The best way I can think to describe how to draw on the petals is to start with a small curved line in the middle, and as you move away from the middle of the rose, your lines form a wider curve. I'd love for you to practice painting roses at home, so I've added a free downloadable outline to my shop. I continue to use my paintbrush like a watery pencil, and I add some of the grey colour to the white petals. Some of the lines that I paint remain thin, and where there's going to be a bit more shade, I paint a thicker amount of grey. My brush is full of water and I catch a tiny bit of purple on my brush. This will add a further shadow to the grey. Mixing in some white watercolour with the purple will create a different shadow line than the grey. The petal will begin to fade. You see here that the grey shade on the white rose pops, whereas the purple shade makes the petal fade. I dilute the grey with water, but then I go into it with a sable paintbrush to remove some of the pigment. This is because the sable brush removes water more effectively than the squirrel brush. I'm going to speed up here to complete the leaves. Let me know in the comments if you would like me to explain making leaves in more detail. go back into the petals with a fine paintbrush to create some outlines for the petals. This is optional. I always like it when there's an outline, but I know some people prefer to leave it loose. It's up to you. I find that this grey line is overlooked by your eye, so when I do an outline, I usually do it in grey. And in this case, the outline is helping to join the middle of the rose to the other petals. I add a very light purple wash to the background. The purple will complement the purple that we used in the shadow of the petals. After other finished details, it's time to sign and unwrap. Unwrapping is probably my favourite part. Leave me a comment below and tell me what your favourite part is. Please hit the subscribe button just to let me know that you would like to see more videos like this, and thank you so much for watching.